You're probably asking yourself, why is there a red light in my stairway or hallway? It's actually to let my wife know that I'm in a video call. As a freelance film editor, I try to work standing up as much as possible, and I do realize this cable mess is terrible. But honestly, I don't know how to do cable management without buying many expensive cables that are long enough to actually be able to do cable management, especially on a standing desk. Since the start of the pandemic a couple of years ago, I have been working predominantly remotely from home, which makes reviewing backpacks like this Rushfaster Everyday Carry backpack a little bit more tricky. That is why I kinda have to be creative how to review and test a backpack. So I'm currently at my in-laws and I thought this would be a good time to test the Rushfaster Everyday backpack. So what did I bring for the short test of this backpack that is actually fairly small and compact? So we have the main compartment. Inside the main compartment I stow away my extended EDC in this little mesh pocket on the top. Then the Evergoods Cap 2, the Bellroy Carryology pencil case that I use as a boo-boo kit, a peanut butter power bar, the Aohi Starship 40,000 mAh battery bank, 2 bottles of water, and a couple of knickknacks here on the top, like my car keys, a notebook, phone holder, pencil, tissues, my Swiss Army knife. Yeah, it's a good little small quick access pouch. It's actually a shame that I can't show you anything of the work that I'm working on due to NDAs. However, I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about freelancing in general. Alright, I was just about to go in a whole monologue about how to be a good freelancer, but I don't want to interrupt this review of this backpack, so I will put that into the back section of this video and in a separate video on my second channel. So if you want to watch that, you can stick around at the end of the video or check out my second channel at You Know The Bow 2. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the Rushfaster Everyday Carry backpack, which is a 22-liter backpack made out of 420D Cordura. With 22 liters, you have enough space to carry your items for work, school, or as the name implies, everyday carry, right? But it is to some degree a little bit too minimalistic in terms of feature set, meaning the compartments or this slots to organize all of your items. So what do I mean by that? Inside the main compartment, you actually only, or in air quotes only, have the laptop slot, a tablet slot, a small side slot for a water bottle, for instance, which I use for my Bellroy Carryology pencil case, that is basically my boo-boo kit. A zippered pocket in the lid that has a mesh kind of fabric to somewhat see what's inside, or to let you know that there is something inside. You can't really distinguish what's inside. And then on the outside you have one quick access pocket. But that's basically it. Overall, there is no front slot for maybe quick access or quick organization that you have on many other bags. It is a very simplistic layout. Some of you will like this, and you would think that I would like it too, because I always say the less compartments, the less slots there is, the more it is flexible and adapts to my packing style, or vice versa. If there are too many slots, too many compartments, then the bag kind of forces me to change my packing style to the bag. For instance, if there are pen slots, I can't use all of the pens that I prefer, but I rather have to kind of find the pens that fit into those pen slots, just as an example. And with that in mind, that I usually like backpacks that adapt to my packing style and be very simplistic, I do feel that this bag could have a couple of more compartments, like this front access compartment, to quickly get some bigger items that usually won't fit into the quick access compartment. The quick access compartment for me is for smaller items like phone, wallet, keys, for instance, and therefore that quick access compartment is great. I utilize that for those smaller items, but I would have wished a bigger compartment in the front and maybe have 2 zippered compartments in the lids opposed to just 1. All right, let's talk a little bit about my experience with the Rushfaster Everyday Carry Backpack. Alright, I have been using this bag now for the short trip to my in-laws, for a couple of trips to the city, but also here at home to give it somewhat of a test as if I would go to an office. Let's start with the things that I do not like about this bag. Maybe that's a little bit easier. The first thing that I don't like is this top grab handle. While it is functional and it is good to hang the bag on a hook or to quickly grab it and carry it around from one desk to another, it is not padded at all. It kind of digs into your hands. It's not very comfortable. If maybe you are in a subway, for instance, and there you stand a little bit longer and you don't want to have the bag on your back because it might be crowded, therefore you hold it in your hands, right? And then I feel this digs too much in your hand. Some form of padding would have been nice on this, but I do understand that usually, or some people do not really use the top handle that much or only use it to carry the bag from one desk to another, for instance. So for those occasions it is okay, but I do not like this. I would have loved more padding. Then you have seen it in the introduction. This bag does not stand up on its own, but for me personally, it's not big of a deal breaker because I have a couple of bags that I love that do not stand on their own as well. But I know that many of the viewers of this channel want the bag to stand up on its own, but this one, it does not, because it is a little bit slanted here on the bottom, so it tilts forward in that direction. Next up is the missing or the lack of a front pocket. You have a quick access pocket on the top, but no pocket here on the front that I personally like to utilize for bigger items that do not fit on the top here. For instance, when I'm riding my motorcycle, I use these front pockets to stow in my motorcycle gloves, for instance. And I really miss that feature on this bag. Next up, in terms of compartments, in the lid of this somewhat clamshell opening bag, there's only one pocket here in the top to organize some items. I would have loved some more pockets inside, maybe here, but I understand that in order to put a pocket in this part where you can see here it folds over, this would have needed to be a fully clamshell opening backpack. This is only 75% clamshell opening. Truth to be told, that is basically it. There is not too much negative that I can say about it. However, is this bag for me? We will see in the verdict, but it is fairly minimal in terms of the organizational compartments and slots, and therefore I kind of would see this bag as a competitor to the used to classic backpacks that one would use for school, college, you know, those JanSport backpacks, and maybe also the Bellroy Classic backpack that I haven't tested yet, but those bags that are clearly intended for you to use every day, as the name implies, for work, for school, or for college. And you don't need necessarily that many organizational slots and don't need that much space because you only have a few items that you carry to work or to school, because having less features also means the price is a little bit lower, and therefore is the in air quotes, typical everyday carry classic backpack that would be an easy recommendation to someone who's going, as I said, school, college, or to work. That being said, as I said previously in the video, for me it's a little bit too few compartments, although this adapts very well to everything that I was packing inside, like this Evergoods Cap 2 liters, this AOE Starship power bank. It all fits very well inside and therefore is a very good companion for your everyday carry. I do like this water bottle slot. As you can see here, I did not utilize it for a water bottle, but instead I think it is very good for either small items, but in this case longish items, to keep them from kind of rattling around in here or falling over, because I want to utilize the whole vertical space. So having longish items stored in this bottle compartment is really good. Again, as I said, you can fit a lot of items in here while the bag adapts to your personal packing style. I always repeat myself, and I'm sorry if you heard it already many times before, but the more slots, the more compartments a bag has, the more I need to potentially adapt my packing style or the contents that I put inside those compartments, because they might be too big to fit in those compartments, and then I potentially have to find a different item to fit inside. Hence my reasoning: the more slots, the more compartments, the more I will need to adapt to the bag. And that's not the case with this bag actually. What I also really like about this bag is how it is constructed. The choices of materials, the way it is built and put together is very good, and I do believe this will hold up lots of abuse and a long time in your life. All of the YKK zippers and the fabric of this 420D Cordura, I believe it was, is water resistant. I never say anything is waterproof because water can push through seams or slightly open zippers eventually. So yeah, the YKK zippers are great. This top quick access compartment is divided in two sections, so you could put your fragile phone in the one side, which has a soft inner lining, and the other items on the other side. And yeah, I like that as well. But besides that, there is, as I said, not too much negative and not too many exceptional points that I would like to point out. Is this bag for me? I don't think so. It's a great bag, don't get me wrong, and it looks amazing. The lack of this front compartments that I was missing gives this bag a very sleek look, a streamlined look, and therefore it looks great, it feels great, it carries great, it is comfortable on my back. The shoulder straps and the back padding are very comfortable. And therefore, I would say it is a very good recommendation for anyone who's looking for an everyday carry bag that isn't overloaded in air quotes in terms of features, is very well made, does look good. Dare I say, maybe a little bit boring, but because there's not much to it. But that's the point with any classic backpack. It's supposed to be a little bit toned down, stripped down, affordable, or comparatively affordable to how it is built and etc. But it will hold up a lifetime, and because it needs to hold up a lifetime, it also has to have a classic look. Therefore, and again, I dare I say it, it is a little bit boring, because if it's too flashy or if there are some bells and whistles, there's the likeliness it's not timeless, yeah? And therefore I feel this is a very good recommendation to most people. It is a good alternative to bags from Air, to bags from Bellroy, for instance. So I would say take a look at the Rushfaster Everyday Carry Backpack. And again, is this bag for me? Probably not. Or not probably, it's not for me, because it is too simplistic in my eyes in terms of looks. It has a few too less slots and compartments that I would have loved to have in here to be able to utilize them. But other than that, there's not much that I can criticize about this bag. So what do you think about this Rushfaster Everyday Carry Backpack, especially in regards to it being a classic backpack? Do you like these types of classic backpacks that are a little bit simpler, a little bit toned down in look, but help you to carry all of your items not only every day, but also due to its timeless design is basically usable for many years and every day basically, and fit any form of attire, be it for school or maybe for work, for business meeting. What do you think about these kind of bags? And yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning where I interrupted the video, if you want to know how to be, or in my humble opinion, be a good freelancer or be successful as a freelancer, stick around at the end of the video. I have a couple of tips and tricks that I believe make up for a good freelancer. But if you want to stop the video here, then let me know if you have any more questions. And also, please feel free to subscribe to this channel and click the little bell icon so you won't miss the next videos. Also, check out my Instagram, second channel and podcast at You Know The Bow. Stay safe and healthy, everyone, and I'll see you in the next videos. Yeah, again, stick around, or yeah, finish the video now. Thank you very much. It's actually a shame that I can't show you anything of the work that I'm working on due to NDAs. However, I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about freelancing in general. I have been a freelance film editor for over 16 years and I have been in the film industry for over 20 years. And I wanted to use the opportunity to tell you how to be a freelancer, or what I believe makes up for a good freelancer. Talent is important, but in my humble opinion, it is only a fraction of all of the single parts that make you a good freelancer. In my experience, one of the most important parts of being a freelancer is to be, yeah, it sounds a little bit cliche, to be a decent person that people like to work with, that is a person that people respect. Because especially as a film editor, you sit a lot of time with the client, the agency, but more importantly with the director in one room, edit on one project. And don't get me wrong, the irony is not lost on me at the moment because I am working remotely alone at home. However, being remotely or working remotely also applies to this important factor of being a freelancer, because I do a lot of video calls, and with those there is a lot of trust involved, that the director, the client, the agency trust you as the freelancer to perform and work well, even though they are not with you. And also, if you are in a video call with the director, you also sit there in a video call for multiple hours, and yeah, you should have a good time while working with any person. So in my humble opinion, it is important to be a good person, to be a person that people want to spend time with. So don't be a dick, actually. So be good to work with, be collaborative, don't be very stubborn, especially in the creative process. It is so important to know that you work with the team on a project. Don't be, oh, I want to do it this way or I want to do it that way, but be helpful in a way. And if you disagree with something, explain it in a constructive way. Don't be like, oh, I don't like that. For me personally, if I do not like anything, or if I think a different way works better, I always explain why I think we should go a different route, or why I believe something doesn't work that well, and then start a constructive discussion about what we should do next. The next part about being a freelancer is actually finances. It is so important to save up money for those times where you might not have a job. For instance, the beginning of the year, January and February in the film industry, usually there's nothing going on. So you need to be prepared for that and have some form of saving to keep you afloat during the month that you don't work. I usually have savings that keep me up afloat for at least 2 months. So if I maybe break a leg or there's no job, I can survive for at least 2 months. Next up, taxes. It is so important to save up for taxes, because there will come a point where you have to pay taxes. If you didn't save up money, then you'll be, basically fucked, right? So I always, whenever I send out an invoice and the client pays me that invoice, I take 40% of that money, and I know that's not mine. 60% of that, what has been paid by a client, that is mine, but 40% that is not mine, that is for taxes, that goes into a separate account. And that is really important. Don't keep everything on the same account, because you might accidentally buy something and then kind of eat into that money that you have been saving up for taxes. So I always put those 40% on a different account and know that that is for taxes. If there's something left over in that account, that is great, maybe for the next taxes, but that is not, in air quotes, your money. That is for the taxes. So the most important factors, or some of the most important factors, are being a good person to work with, secondly, having a good grasp of your finances, saving up some money for the bad month, and saving up money for taxes. And thirdly is talent. It's not that talent is, in my humble opinion, important. It is important to have talent, obviously, but as I said, it's only a fraction. Being good at your job is always also a relation of your experiences and having done something multiple times and learning stuff on the go. There's this saying, was it Bruce Lee doing a kick 10,000 or 100,000 times, so you are really good at it? I'm butchering that quote, but in essence, it is also about practice and experience. And if you don't have that much talent, you could, and I'm trying to be really careful about that, you could actually practice and learn a lot to make up for the lack of talent. So yeah, talent is important, but it is not the biggest factor. And I think if you practice a lot and learn a lot and gain a lot of experience, then you can be good at that job as well.